Okay, so yesterday we spoke a lot around identity, values, purpose. Basically, I'm sure you'll all agree, a lot of awareness around where we're trying to go, what we're trying to achieve, and how we like to live, or how we would like to live, okay? But that's great, but it's irrelevant if you don't know what standards you need to operate with, what you need to actually do granularly on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, okay? So today's all about getting clarity with what you actually need to do, action, and how you need to behave on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So by the end of today, you will leave with a clear action plan and a structured journal to help you implement what we've gone through. Because look, some of you have been with me for a hell of a long time. Information is fucking pointless. Awareness is demoralizing if you don't actually know how to implement it year round, okay? Now, with today's session, it's all going to be around shaping your non-negotiable standards. There's a reason why the word standards is written on the Built to Last Hall of Famer trophies, because you can know what to do, but ultimately, whether you implement what you need to do is down to your standards. And if I look at the people we've coached over the last 10 years, and for me, best part of 2 decades as a coach, the people who stay in shape year round, full of energy, full of confidence, have non-negotiable standards in the right areas, okay? Doesn't mean you need to be perfect. As we're going to go through today, some of you have your highest standard, some of you have your minimum non-negotiable standards. But what we've realized, Chris, obviously Matt isn't here, and our coaches, some of you don't know what your minimum non-negotiable standards need to be in certain areas. And on the flip side, some of you don't know what your highest standards needs to be to go to another level, especially if you've never reached certain standards across the key areas which we're going to uncover, okay? Yeah, that's going to drive me crazy. What I want us to have front of mind as we go through this is what we spoke about yesterday, which is your dream built to last identity. Because it's impossible to know what standards to execute, what actions to implement, if you don't know where it's working towards. So we need to start with the end in mind. Where are we trying to go? Who are we trying to become? Then we can reverse engineer what we need to do based on what we're currently doing, and then what we need to do if what we're currently doing isn't creating more likelihood of working towards that outcome, okay? So does everyone have a pretty strong idea, even if it isn't word perfect, because I know there's a lot we chucked at yesterday, of what your dream built to last identity is, in terms of how you want to look, how you want to feel, what you want to weigh, basically why you're here inside Built to Last. Is everyone pretty clear on how they would love to look and feel and just describe themselves when it comes to their identity? Yeah? So as we go through these areas now, have that front of mind, okay? As I spoke about, you know, with the two drawings that I said, yes, the two lines where I went, you've got a current reality, you've got a desired reality, and what this is going to do is give you clarity on what your standards and daily non-negotiables need to be to meet that expectation. Because a lot of you might have an expectation of a certain outcome, but either your standards are nowhere near that, or you don't know what standards you need to create that, okay? So it's going to be very practical. Happy to be back and forth if anyone's struggling with this. So we're just going to go through all of the key areas, okay? So let's start firstly with, right? It's on page, 30, sorry, yeah. And I've put the 1% mentality because the reality is, and this is why Built to Last isn't for everybody, I really believe a true high performer isn't just successful, they don't just have a big bank balance, they want to be in fucking tip-top shape year round. and their personal standards are just as high as their professional standards. That might ruffle some feathers, but I don't care. I think there's so many frauds in this industry, in the personal development space, business mentorship space, who are fucking out of shape and a mess. Okay, so this is about creating standards that we won't renegotiate with in the future. Okay, and even from a personal standpoint, I'm sure many of you have invested first and foremost because I live what I preach on the front end. I've been in shape for the best part of 30 years. Don't want a medal for that, but I live what I preach, irrelevant of age, circumstances, environment. Okay, so I believe I'm as best qualified as anybody to help anybody who is struggling in any of these areas to get really crystal clear on what does my highest standard need to be with training, food, movement, all these different things, and what does my minimum non-negotiable need to be at this stage of your life in relation to your current expectation. Okay, so training, let's break that down first. What are your current standards when it comes to your training? What do I mean by that? How many times a week do you train? And if I said to you on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard do you feel you train? Okay, so we've got frequency and intensity. All right, so mine might look like, at the minute, 4 times weights. Okay, I'll just focus on weights for now, and my training intensity is never below a 9 out of 10, even if I can't train as long. You can add duration on that as well if you want to, all right? So for me, I'm typically training around 45 minutes on average max. That's my current standard. What is your current standard with your training? Ads, is this, am I doing this properly? Yeah. Yeah, feel it. Okay.
The workouts we do.
Can you speak up?
The workouts we do with you, the FBs.
Yep.
I can't get under an hour, most of them. Am I doing it right?
Are you probably resting too long? Some of them might take a bit longer, but how long do they take?
Hour, 20 minutes, hour 15.
No, I do these workouts myself, so I think sometimes that might be two things. One, you might be struggling to know what weight to choose. Two, you're probably resting too long.
Get off your phone. I take 1 hour.
Yeah, it depends. Does that include warm-up and mobility?
Not really. Can I do that before?
No, I think it's resting way too long. I've done these sessions. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for those sessions. And look, even though we have set rest periods in the sessions, sometimes if you're feeling a bit cooked and the goal is strength, I don't care if someone's resting longer. But what I would say, if your sessions are taking longer, say an hour and 20, and that's a problem, either do less sets and make. Okay, if you've got the time to do it, it's great. I would question the intensity of that session in the right way, whether you got a fucking PT shouting at you or not. An hour and 20 minutes is fucking hard to train hard. I'm on about really hard. A lot of people they do junk sets. I'm not saying you are, Westy, but an hour and 20, I'd say intensity, I guess your intensity would probably be about 6 or 7 out of 10. I just don't believe anyone can train weights for an hour and 20 minutes really, really hard.
Mentally, I switch off after about 50 minutes.
What'd you say?
Like mentally, I'll switch off after about 50 minutes if I'm training hard with weights.
Yeah.
I do it for like nutrition. You're doing like an hour and a half.
Yeah, but it's not sweat. It's not sweat. It's not sweat. When we're talking about strength training, like the key KPI is are you getting stronger? Yeah, it's not sweat. Some people sweat more than others, but it depends. I'll tell you what would add time to your sessions is of course if you're using more barbells or you're trying to mix in machines, which is why just try not to veer too much from the system. Like and more barbell should be on FV3, but if you're chucking in too much barbell, changing more weights, then that is going to compromise the session length a little bit. But without dwelling on that too much, just put down the stats and facts. Okay, I'm not making you wrong, Westy. If someone's training hour and 20, if someone's training 30 minutes, just put down your current standard, what you are actually doing, not what you should be doing, just what you're currently doing. And then the next column, because some of your current standards, and this might not be relevant for everybody, some of your current standards might not be your highest standard. So for me at the minute, I'm doing 45 minutes. I'm doing 2 sets, some sessions. Some of the sessions have been 30 minutes. That's not my ultimate highest standard. That if I had a calmer week, more time, my highest standard would be maybe 4 times weights, 60 to 75 minutes. That would include mobility and stuff, and not for all sessions. Remember, some sessions are shorter than others. One thing I will say is, out of the Built to Last system, the longest workouts would likely be FB1 and strength, potentially if you're resting longer, but FB2 and FB4 should be under an hour. And they're the highest rep ones, but you're moving dumbbells around. There's no way they should take longer than an hour. All right, but that would be roughly for me. And my training intensity is never really mine doesn't, my highest intensity, I can say 10 out of 10, but do you know what I mean? It's pretty similar to what I'm currently doing now. That's one of the reasons I look the way I do, is my training intensity. That is one of the things that keeps me the way I am all year round. Now, if this helps, we'll move along to minimum standards. My minimum standard, and this is maybe helpful for some, in relation to, right? Again, even as I'm doing this for me, in relation to my identity, my dream identity of how I want to feel, look, etc., is this: I want to be in world-class shape with great strength, confidence, and energy year round. It's the same fucking thing every year. So everything I'm going through now is aligned to that. What does Kirk Miller need to do across all these areas to keep and meet that expectation? Yeah? And I know as I move along to my minimum standards in relation to that expectation, okay, my minimum non-negotiable standard, right, even irrelevant of me being in shape all these fucking years, I can't get away with less than this. Since becoming a dad, that has been on a really bad week with travel, stress, time poor, 2 30 minutes full body. Sometimes I've done 4 fucking exercises. But guess what hasn't changed? 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, my intensity. And I see so many people in the gym before I get in, and then when I've left, and I've done more efficient training, yeah? But still, in order to meet that expectation, this has to be my minimum non-negotiable standard. Okay? Still say lean and weigh a certain weight, even irrelevant to that if you didn't train with food movement, but that is going to have I'm going to lose some shape and muscle. My new non-negotiable standard, I don't need to change mine. I'm quite content with that, okay? For you guys, question I'm going to ask you is this: in relation to your expectation, think end in mind, okay? When you look at your current standards, highest standards, and minimum standards, which is the one? It's either going to be your minimum standard or your highest standard. Which is the one you feel you need to improve or do something different? And what do I mean by that? The likelihood is, over a period of a year, you would have certain weeks or a certain amount of weeks across the calendar year where your highest standard is at a certain point. Then it's the other weeks where they are a bit compromised. Is your minimum set of non-negotiable standards what they are required, remember the word yesterday, required, to meet your expectations? Because what we typically find is, and you guys know I'm talking to, you can train hard and train well and train enough when you got great conditions, but then your fucking minimum non-negotiable standard is fucking nowhere near that. Whether it's through volume, intensity, or duration, but it's likely down to be the session frequency itself or intensity. Okay? So, which of these needs to go up? Do you feel? Some of you don't train hard enough. Some of you do. But some of you who do train hard enough, on your not so good weeks, go missing, or you maybe don't train at all, or you don't train as hard, okay? But some of you, this might be strong, it might be a core driver that you've mastered, right? Please don't be shy. Is there anybody who isn't clear in relation to their expectation, what their highest standard needs to be? How would you know that? If you've been stuck looking at your physique for an extended period of time thinking, fucking hell, I'm training quite a lot, but I'm not changing, it's likely to be a training issue. Okay? Who here feels they should be progressing fast and it might be down to their training? Okay, brilliant. Okay, keep your hands raised, please. Palm, who here feels they're not changing as fast as they would like to and they feel it might be down to their training? Okay, Palm, do you mind unpacking this with me, buddy? Yeah, so if we looked at that for you, buddy, can you just walk through your current standard, highest standard? Yeah.
Yeah, so current standard.
Sorry. This is helpful, mate. Sorry. Yeah. So can you walk us through, Palm, your current standards, stats and facts around training?
Yeah. So current standards 2 to 3 times a week, not completing all the sets, right?
Roughly how much duration? Current standard.
Duration. What do you mean? Like
how long are the sessions roughly?
Normally about 40 minutes.
Okay,
right?
40 minutes. And what would you say intensity on a scale of 1 to 10?
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Okay, that's current standard. Okay.
Yeah. The highest standard should be 4 times a week, like getting all the sets done. Complete.
No. Not what they should. Not your highest standard should be yet. We're going to come on to that. What they should be needs to be that. Which.
Oh no, we're talking about. Okay. So
what is your highest standard? You've been with us a little while. What is the highest standard you've currently set since you've been inside Built to Last, in terms of how many sessions per week? Basically, your best weeks in Built to Last.
Yeah. The best weeks, obviously, when I'm at home, four times, getting all the sets done, getting all the workouts done, but also getting all the sets done like 3 times and not missing an exercise.
Okay.
Right. And the effort being 9 out of 10.
Would you say you've reached 9 out of 10 yet?
No.
Yeah, and I'm not attacking. I know we've spoken about this privately, but this is why this is super honest. Yeah. Okay, so you've realised your highest standard is training 4 times a week, getting all your sets in, but your training intensity, even with your current highest standard, is probably around 7. I'd say 7 or 8. Okay. Yeah. And then what about your current minimum non-negotiable standard?
3 times a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Minimum getting 2 sets done of each exercise.
Yeah.
And then the effort, I said 8, but it's probably lower than that. On
yeah.
reflection. If I'm 7 on the other one, then that's lower than that.
Yeah. So I would say if your current standard, you're saying was 2 to 3, and you're saying your minimum non-negotiable standard is 3, I'd say that's where there's a little bit of your minimum non-negotiable standard is really 2 if your current standard is 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So,
it does.
And then in relation to your expectations, what is your expectation? You Built to Last identity you're trying to work towards?
Basically be a world-class operator with a physique and mindset that reflects that.
Okay, so that is the end game of what we're trying to work towards. So based off what we've just shared, what do you feel, before I chime in, needs to be your new non-negotiable standard in relation to that? And if you don't know, I can tell you.
I need to be working out, getting all the workouts done, the 4.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Okay, I think in relation to your lifestyle right now, because this is where, again, some of you can, even though it looks great on paper, we've got to meet you where you're at in relation to where life is at the minute. Yeah. I personally feel, mate, rather than us trying to go, because I think this is so typical of a lot of our high performers and founders who go, nah, fuck it, I'm going to, I personally think for you, mate, if your current standard has been 2 to 3 sessions, and 2 sets, and in training intent maybe around a 6 or a 7, I think your new non-negotiable standard, and I think it needs to be your minimum non-negotiable, but sort of tied in with highest at the same time, just for this foreseeable, needs to be 3 weight sessions without negotiation. Okay, and you need to get all of your sets in those 3 sessions, and the training intensity we need to vamp up to a 9. I feel you are far more likely to do that than me saying, let's do 4.
Yeah, and then mail it in.
Exactly, and then
Yeah.
feel when you've done 3 that you've failed.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Crystal
So
clear.
that's where I'll just pretend this is palms.
Yeah.
His new non-negotiable standard is 3 times weights,
Yeah.
all sets.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, 9 out of 10. He will get, his physique will change so much more than someone doing 4 sets, but the fucking training intent is 6, and I'm doing an hour and 20 workouts just to get all the sets in. Yeah? Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah?
No,
And
trust
then, this is why it's a beautiful exercise. We can do this in 3, 6, 12 months' time, and we've implemented those new non-negotiable standards every week.
Yeah.
We saw the change, and then we can reevaluate,
Do we
can
up
we
it?
create a new threshold? Can we
Yeah.
create a new standard?
Makes sense.
Make sense?
Yep.
Does that make sense to everybody else?
Yeah.
Is there anybody unsure on? Yep.
Is gonna be the minimum or the Keren standard?
Well, it just depends. Like I said, I feel with Palm, his minimum non-negotiable standard needed to be brought up. But that sort of ties in with his higher standard. But some people are either really amazing, where they fucking train really hard when they train. Okay? They might do that for fucking 2 weeks, but then the 2 weeks they're busy, it's the total opposite. So that's different to each person. So if I can quickly do it with yourself. Let's walk it through yourself. What is your current standard with your training? Oh, sorry. Jade. Go on. Thanks. So what is your current standard with your training?
Keren standards are
Louder.
3 days per week weight.
Yep.
And 8 9 intensity.
3 days per week, 8, 9
And
intensity.
maybe the time it's between 40 to 50 minutes.
Okay. Are you seeing progress from that?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your goal? What you're striving for?
I'm going to be in general.
No. Tell me what your goal is with your identity, your physical and mental identity.
Leader mindset, great physique, and healthy habits.
Yeah. So you want a world-class physique with a strong mindset with non-negotiable habits.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you can strengthen the wording of that. The wording's important. It has to touch your heart. If your identity statement is flimsy, it's not clear, then you won't have enough emotional pull to implement the habits towards the outcome. Yeah?
Yes.
So that's where the words, and I'm happy to make sure by the end of this event, if anyone isn't strong enough, spoke about yourself, Neil, we'll make sure it's fucking so clear. This might not be or resonate with a lot of people. World-class shape might not resonate with a lot of people. Some people just want to be healthy, lean, fit, mobile, that's okay. But for me, I need something aspirational to keep my standards sharp. World-class does that for me. So you want words that go, And that's why the work yesterday is so important. Those words are important, but they need to be not what you think other people think. You know how Jason spoke about yesterday in terms of values? Don't fucking put down what sounds nice because other people are doing it. This needs to be close to your heart. And usually the words that you want to use to describe yourself are maybe the opposite of what someone might have said to you. Right? So if you have been fat as a kid, someone's called you fat, it might be, I want to be lean as fuck. I want to be in amazing shape. Or if someone's ever said to you, God, you're so unfit. The opposite of that, someone might want to be, part of your driver might want to be, I'm like Luke Black, I'm as fit as an athlete. I am fat, I'm fit, I'm fit, I'm fast, I've got unbelievable stamina, whatever it is. Yeah? So that's why you need to play around with that. And when you write that, you think, is this important to me? Does this touch my heart? If not, then think of something different. Sorry, I veered off there. Okay, highest standard.
I'm going in the high standards. I'm going 4 times per week for weight in gym and 2 days for incline walk in the machine for 40 minutes.
Okay.
And again 8, 9 to 10 intensity.
Okay, and then what about on a bad week? Time poor, stressed, overwhelmed. Because I know you spoke about this, didn't you?
Bad weeks when I am feeling sick or something like that, I'm going the minimum 2 days, and I made my best, let's say 7 to 10 intensity, but not the highest reps. So maybe I will go to 8 reps in any exercise and lower the kilos.
Okay. Now what I would say, as much as I'm trying to stretch people's standards, if you're ill, you're ill. yeah. If you're ill, you're ill. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Because I have a 3-year-old kid, it's like every week
yeah.
I'm in a war with illness.
Yeah. I get it. So maybe this might help people with who've got kids. You're saying there 2 sessions a week. Look, that's similar to me on a bad week. So that's not so bad, especially if you go when you're ill, which I probably wouldn't advise. But maybe another question to consider for some people is, how many minimum weeks do you feel you're having over a calendar year? Because I know, Palm, we had a discussion around this, didn't we? As much as we're trying to talk about having acceleration weeks where you're pushing the pedal, you're eating well, you're training perfectly, all that stuff. How many of those minimum non-negotiable weeks are you having across a calendar year?
Let's
Because-
say 1 week per month.
Well, okay, 1 week per month, that's 12 weeks a year, a quarter of a year. I still personally feel, and we'll come on to this in a second, if you're disciplined with food and you're sleeping well, you're doing all the other stuff to the best of your capability, if you are doing 40 weeks a year where you're training hard, you're training 3-4 times a week, if you've got 12 weeks where you're training twice a week because of baby illness, but you're eating well, you'd still be in phenomenal shape. So I personally feel you're in a good spot. You know, so your new non-negotiable standard could be, so I know it's veering off to a different recovery. Yours is not training when you're fucking, yeah. So yeah, your minimum non-negotiable standard could literally be, making sure that you don't have more than 12 weeks a year of those minimum non-negotiable standards, which I know is a bit more wordy. So even if you just put 12 weeks max at minimum non-negotiable standard. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Right, I'll get a chop on with the others. Okay, does that make sense? Is there anyone clear about that? Yeah? Then if we said food, right? Food quantity, food volume, okay? What is your current standard when it comes to calories, portions? Current standard, roughly how many calories would you say you're eating? Is this working? Oh, sorry. Yeah, how many calories would you say you're eating per day on average, or weekly, whatever? How many calorie quantity in terms of your current standard? How many calories are you roughly eating a week, or as an average across the day? Or if you don't know, do you feel like you're overeating, undereating, or eating enough to maintain where you want to be?
What if you've got weeks where you over and undereat?
Pardon?
What if you've got weeks where you overeat and some weeks you under?
Just as an average, mate. I do as an average. Yeah, do as an average. And how would you know? Again, I keep talking about it's a fucking scales. Stats don't lie. But again, it comes down to your expectation. Okay? In relation to your current standards. But just, if you do know your calories, just write them down. Okay? Yeah. And then in relation to your highest standards, basically your best weeks of managing your food, what are your calories? And for those who don't track calories, it would just be you manage your calories perfectly. You can do a rating out of 10 if you wanted to. If you wanted to rate your calorie management on a great week, your best week since you've been here.
Is that the best week ever? So like even during cut, so when we were cutting.
Yeah. You know your highest standard. Your highest standard since you've been working with us. What does that look like? Yeah. Same with your minimum standards. Now, do not bullshit yourself. This is going to be one of the most important stats. What is your current minimum standard when it comes to managing your food volume or portions? Basically, what's the highest amount of calories you've eaten or eat on a bad week? Yeah, and drink, yeah, just calories as a whole. You have to get granular on that. And if you don't know, guess. There, minimum standard. Because anyone can put, yep, when I eat really well, I manage 2,000 calories, 2,500 calories, I eat really well. If you're not where you want to be, that's probably not the stat we need to focus on. What is your minimum standards? When you have a bad week, or you don't manage your calories as well as you do on a great week, what does that look like? Don't bullshit, I want to see some. Is that per week or day? 40,000. What is that a day? Just be honest. Yeah, just be honest. Yeah, look, Smithy's not bullshit. He said he eats 40,000 calories on a bad week. No, but some of you are, sorry, so listen. This is important. Some of you are fucking deluded with what you eat on a bad week. You absolutely bullshit yourself. Oh, the scales, I don't know, I'm doing everything right, I'm not losing weight. Fuck off. You're eating too much. Right? Now, in relation to new non-negotiable standard, okay? Does your highest standard need to improve? Or your minimum non-negotiable standard, or a bit of both? Basically, what does your new non-negotiable standard need to be in relation to your expectation? John? Sorry, yep.
I'll just ask you a question about calories and protein. So if
speak up, John, sorry, buddy.
You're asking you a question about calories and
yep.
protein. If you're on 2,000 calories a day, but you haven't hit your protein of 175 grams, what do you do?
If you're on 2,000 calories a day?
If you're on 2,000 calories,
yep.
but you've only done 100 grams of protein, or 150 grams of protein, what would you go over your calories to achieve your protein target a day?
No, I'd evaluate why I'd gone over my calories but under-ate my protein in the first place.
Okay.
I know that's pretty direct, but you're used to that with me. So.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
My thought process with food, and I think people overcomplicate it dramatically, is this, where I'm trying to add muscle, drop fat, or maintain my shape. My first protocol around food, firstly, is on a daily basis, whether I'm in fucking Spain, Dubai, England, Brazil, wherever, how am I going to get my protein in today? How many eating or calorie consumption opportunities do I have in that day? And what are the protein options I have during that period? And how can I make sure I'm going to mentally hit, because I don't track my calories, but I know having weighed that much fucking food and saw that much food and picked up that many packets, that's my first protocol. How am I going to hit my protein? Secondly, how can I make sure I get enough fiber in? Thirdly, adequate fats. And then, as I've said time and time again, I'm scaling my carbs up or down depending on my output that day and my expectation during that period. Yeah? And obviously we can coach you through all that stuff too, but that's how simple I think we can all make it, okay? Because the reality is you're far more likely to overeat your calories. You're far more likely to overeat your calories if you're lowering protein and lowering fiber, because you won't be full. Yep. Sorry.
This might not matter because we work directly with you.
Yep.
But as we're reducing our body fat, we're also adjusting our calories during the course of our program with you. This new non-negotiable standard, is that really what it should be at the time of where we are on our fat loss journey?
If you're losing body fat on your current calorie volume, then your new non-negotiable standard is likely the one you currently have.
Because I'm on 2,100 calories right now.
And if you're losing fat and body weight on that, then that's
just what just keep, yeah.
Yeah, then that's your, yeah, even though we've put new non-negotiable standard, if we're not, if something's working, that's your. I just can't write 55 million.
No, I get it.
So yeah, look, if what you're doing is currently work, I'm not here to.
It just seems very low, 2,100 calories. Just seems very low.
But again, sorry to call you out in front of everybody, but there's also periods, Westy, where you've had fucking drinks that I didn't know you had that have pushed your calories up. So it's probably not as accurate as what you think it is.
Sangria light.
What? No, listen, I'm just telling the truth. Listen, Westy, if I'm seeing your fucking food, but I'm not seeing alcohol, and this goes to anyone in the program, that is sort of calories that we can't see. Right?
What he's fucking saying is you shouldn't have gone out last night.
I think he's got FOMO.
It's all about average fucking calories, guys. Like, listen, so all I'd say is, and I think we had a discussion around this yesterday, this is super important. If you are ever having a period where you are not losing weight and you think you should be based on your movement, your training, and your food volume during that period, make things as predictable as possible for at least 5 to 7 days. Eat the same fucking shit, right? Exactly the same calories. I hate tracking calories, but do it for that period, right? And then you've got accurate data, right? And if you've got a consistent amount of movement across that period too, and you've got your usual training, then at the end of that 5 to 7 days, is my weight holding? Is it dropping? Is it going up? Okay, and if you're not dropping, you either have to move more and train harder. If those 2 boxes are ticked, okay, then the issue is, or the thing to change is food volume from there.
Okay.
We're not trying to fucking bring calories down for anybody. We're trying to keep as many calories as possible during a dieting phase. Okay, but it's the things you don't share or we don't see usually is what stands in the way of weight loss and fat loss. The maths don't lie. We've seen time and time again with people who transform, and Westy, when you didn't have as many drinks during the first 12 weeks, you dropped 12 kg in 12 weeks. So I love you and we'll push on. But okay, right, we might run over a touch on this, sorry. Right, I won't spend it, this is important, but is everyone clear on is anyone unclear on what their new non-negotiable standard should be with food? For many people, it's been more accurate with your minimum non-negotiable standard. Basically, how you should manage your calories on the weeks that aren't as perfect. Is anyone who doesn't know what they should be, or even that question I said around the training is quite might useful. Over a 52-week period, how many weeks at a guess would you say you are operating from your worst case minimum standard of food versus your best case? Is it 4 weeks? Is it 5 weeks? Is it 10 weeks? Is it half a year? Because usually it's that we need to improve by 10, 20% or get a bit closer to our best standard, and then the averages improve. Yeah? Right. Okay. Let's go to food quality. And we'll rate this as a percentage, okay? So if I said to you, what is your current standard when it comes to food quality? Your current standard. So if you were to put all your food that you're currently eating on a weekly basis on a fucking table, bird's eye view, how much of that as a percentage would be real, non-processed, non-refined sugar, high quality real food? Generally single ingredient food. Yeah? Pardon?
Granola doesn't count?
No. Right? So I would say my current standard, and this isn't always, my current standard the last 2 weeks has been this. 100%. I touch fuck all processed. I don't do that all year round, but if I'm trying to get lean quickly, I don't touch anything processed. I've been in a hotel. Okay, maybe that as a caveat, but a sausage. Yeah, no, listen, I think we're nitpicking there. I personally, that's fine. That's fine. No, not sausage. But my 100%. So my highest standard is this. Okay. This again. Look, I know some of you are going, what the fuck does Kirk do to stay in shape year round? And I feel this is something everybody could learn from who's not where they want to be. Even on a bad fucking week, my minimum standard is 90%. I don't believe in this 80-20 bollocks. Personally, if you're trying to operate I think 20% of calories is an awful lot across a 7-day period to be non-processed and refined sugar. Even if your goal isn't to look lean, I think from an energy and performance and focus perspective, keep food quality high, and every single aspect of managing food quantity becomes easier. And I guarantee you'll see more benefits from your training because you're eating high quality nutrition. Stickers. Annoying as fuck. Right. So, and I would say my new non-negotiable standard, I don't want to be 100% all year round. I want to stay at that. I know that's boring as fuck, but that's going to be for the rest of my life. That is my lifetime non-negotiable standard. Yeah? We could just fast track this whole fucking training. If you ate like that for the rest of your life, you'd be healthy, you'd be lean, you'd be full of energy. Okay? And obviously the health and longevity benefits go without saying. Okay, all right. So what does your new standard need to be? Your minimum standard, or do we need a new highest standard? Because for some people, their minimum standard and highest standard might be 70%. They might be quite close together. Do you need to up your highest standard? For example, some people in the business end, we're trying to get everyone in the business end, which is the peak fat loss phase. John, you'll vouch for this, buddy, right? I'd love John to get a quick share on this. John has been with us a couple of years, healthy, strong, year round. Would I be correct in saying, John, that the single biggest difference that has made, the two biggest differences that have made a massive effect to your physique has been optimizing food quality from probably 80 to 90 to 100, or very close to, and by default managing food volume easier because of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just, even in the last 3 months, really. Last 3 months, just changing that.
Yeah. And what difference has that made to body weight and condition?
I was plateauing around, well, you'll know, because you watch me, but I was plateauing about, 73, 74 kilos?
Yeah.
Couldn't shift it, then clicked, properly dialed in those, and went down to 69 before I came out here.
Yeah.
And my target's 68, so I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But that was, I trained hard.
Yeah.
And that was the turnkey on getting to that new level.
So would you say not only did the highest standard come up, but the minimum did as well?
The minimum standard now for me is my, approaching my highest standard, because I've built it back up. So the highest standard is a non-negotiable, really.
Yep. And that's what we want to happen. Effectively, John's minimum standard now is higher than his previous highest standard. So do we have clarity on what that needs to be? And if not, again, we can unpack this. I know we've only got so much time. Next one, steps. Okay, current standard, let's again fill that in. Go across the board. You know the theme of this now, so take some time to fill in the data. Current standards, I'd say for me, probably about 12k steps, average. Highest standard, I never want to be above 15k. I don't need to or want to move more than that. My minimum non-negotiable standard, again, important, with the end in mind and that expectation in mind and that identity in mind. What is the minimum I need to move to keep that shape, irrelevant of training and food? For me, it's 8k daily on a bad week.
So these are daily averages.
Yeah, or you can do weekly, whatever resonates. Okay. Ultimately, I focus on weekly when I'm looking at my numbers anyway, because some days I can move more, move less. But ultimately, at the end of the week, irrelevant of my weekly target, all I give a fuck about is what is my averages. Same with my body weight. I'm not bothered if it goes up and down. What is my average? Yeah? You know, it's a common theme across that. Yeah? So my new non-negotiable standard, again, this is why it's the fucking same as what it is, because it works. So my new non-negotiable standard, I would say, as an average is, it's just 10k an average year round. I know I can look the way I want to. The only thing that would fuck that up is if all of a sudden I start eating shit and skip sessions. Any questions around that? Do people know how much they need to move in relation to their current expectation? Or if you look at how many weeks, again, good question for yourself, how many weeks do you find you're doing your lowest amount of steps? So say some of you might be 6 or 7, 8k steps or lower. How many weeks a year are you doing that? And although, is it the minimum standard that needs to be brought up? Or this happens a lot in the business end as well. Some of you are moving lots. This is important. Some of you are moving lots. But if you're trying to make that acceleration in fat loss for a short period of time, sometimes you need to increase your movement to repay the debt of the body fat you put on in the first place from eating more calories than what you needed during that period. You've got to repay that debt at some point. And sometimes the generic 10k steps doesn't cut the mustard. So some of you might need to increase your output. I know Jace, you did this, right? Jace did that. He was training hard, eating well, but we increase the output, accelerates the fat loss. Doesn't have to do that forever, because once you're in shape, as long as you control the other variables and don't get out of shape, you don't need to walk fucking 15, 20,000 steps a day. But you have to repay that debt at some point. Okay? And if you don't like managing calories as low, move more, train harder. Okay, right? Okay. Rest the others are quicker. Water, hydration. Current standard. How much do you drink a day? Me, I probably 4.5 litres. Mine's probably the fucking same, to be honest. Okay, water. On you weeks where you're fully hydrated, what? Basically, when you feel great, you feel fully hydrated. How you'll know that as well, you probably lift more because you've got more water in the cells. You get a better pump. You'll concentrate better. But on the weeks where maybe you don't drink as much, you'll probably find you overeat more. You don't train as hard. Yes, John.
Sorry, just a quick question. You mentioned to me one time about getting more water into your body before training.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the time. Was it like an hour? Try and get. I think you said 1.5 litres for me before training, and it hydrates the muscles or something.
I can't. It all depends on what time you're training, to be honest. Because if you have 1.5 litres before training, maybe first thing in the morning, if you're an AM trainer, that might feel a bit.
Right.
You don't want to feel like you're
Okay.
bloated from water. Even
Right.
it sounds a bit
Okay.
weird saying that, but it can happen.
Okay.
So it all depends. I mean, for those of you who train first thing, I personally, my own routine, I drink best part of 750 ml when I first wake up. At least half a litre of water, then a couple of coffees. But I would never go into a session without having drank at least half a litre before I train. And then I'd generally drink at least 1 litre during a training session. It's such a simple thing that people don't do, but hydration can sometimes be a hidden thing holding people back. Certainly if you're training for endurance and with volume. Okay? Everyone clear on that? Yeah, nearly. Then, this will be fun, because mine's shit. All right, sleep. I would say, sleep. My current standard the last couple of weeks, it's been 5.5 to 6. Highest standard, I'd be lying if I said it was 8 hours. It's been 7 to 7.5. Minimum standard is currently where it is. And I'll be honest, holding myself accountable to everybody, this is something I need, a new non-negotiable standard, because that has been the thing that's been a bit iffy. All right? So for me, realistically, new non-negotiable standard, 6.5 to 7. Again, I'll be full of shit if I'm all of a sudden going to say I'm going to sleep 7.5. Bit like I said with Palm, like, what, I need to meet myself where I'm at and then just create a new non-negotiable, cement that, prove I can do that, and then turn it up hopefully from there. Okay, but sleep, I'd love to know, is there anyone who's fucking shocking with sleep? Raise your hand if you're shit with sleep. Okay, Cole, what's your, explain it, what's your sleep like? Sorry, go on, put that. Yeah. So 5?
5 hours, yeah.
How long has that been 5 for?
20 years?
20 years. You fucking done all right as well in business. Jesus. Do you find you have naturally high energy? Do you feel that impacts you at all?
Yeah, I mean, I work late into night, and that's when I do my best work and fastest work.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get a wind down on the end of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in relation to your goal, what is your goal at the minute?
I need 7 hours.
Pardon?
If I listen to the whoop, I'm about 60% of what I need. So
60% of what you need. But in relation to your goal, what is your goal right now? You're trying to add lean muscle, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard to do that if you don't sleep.
Yeah.
Right? So if we are trying to improve standards towards that expectation, you like we probably want to think, even though it's been a 20-year habit, would you agree we probably need to improve that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What can we agree on and maybe keep each other accountable to with sleep? What can be your new non-negotiable? It might not be 6.5 to 7, but I think we need to get that up to 6 at least.
Yeah. No, it needs to be.
Yeah. So let's set a chat 6. Let's go for a 6 non-negotiable standard.
Yep.
And I can message you each day and go how much sleep you got. All right? But it's important. You can't build fucking muscle, or it makes it very, very hard to drop body fat if your body's inflamed from a lack of sleep. Fucking Danny Boyle. Let's keep him out of the equation, okay? Right, nearly done. I wanted to pop something else in there because it's going to be in the journal, right? Your emotional well-being, right? Just emotional well-being. What do you do currently to help manage your emotional well-being, your emotional state, mindset, whatever you want to call it? What do you do currently as a habit or a ritual to manage your emotional well-being? Or at least evaluate your emotional well-being. Some people might be breath work, meditating, journal, gratitude. Some people it might be their training. But what do you do to keep your emotions and your well-being in check? Thing that helps me most is journal. It's journal. And I would say highest standard with that is 7 days. There's been some days, certainly since becoming a dad, where I've only maybe done that 5 days. My new non-negotiable, I want that 7 because every single aspect of my day feels better when I journal and I take time to put pen to paper on my thoughts, my feelings, and just express gratitude. It sounds a bit woo-woo, but it works for me. It might not work for anyone else. I've used a few, but there's one now. It's called like a productivity. It's quite a plain, just basic journal. But there's a best self journal that's good, and I'm going to start using the one that I'm going to give to you later. Yeah. All right. Pardon? Well, bit of both. But just to evaluate at the end of a week, how did I feel? Like what went well? Because otherwise, when I've not done that, and there was weeks last year as a parent where I didn't do that, I feel a bit anxious because I haven't just checked in with what's going on. Do you know what I mean? And that's where talking about boundaries and values, where Jason spoke about yesterday, the weeks that I didn't do that last year, I just felt a bit more on edge, and there was more likelihood of me people pleasing and saying yes to things that shouldn't have gone in my calendar, and meetings and all that stuff, and also just fluffy tasks because usually if your emotional well-being isn't on point, you're doing things you don't really want to do and you're more overwhelmed, and usually you're more overwhelmed by doing things that are not effective, not aligned to your values, and not moving you forward. Yeah, basically not sharpening your decision making. So, and also not being grateful for the small wins. How many people practice gratitude regularly and know when you do it you feel better? Right? I know I need to do that more. Make sense? Yeah, that's all good. Sorry, there was one chat. Human, did you?
What if you don't do anything right now? You don't have anything. It's NA for me. I don't.
Okay, I would ask you what do you feel? Do you feel you'd be in a better place if you did do something?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't really.
So if you don't do anything, then your current standard is fuck all. I don't know if that's a standard. I'm a high redder.
Only up from there.
It's only up from there. So what I would encourage, yeah, the only way is fucking trust me. The beautiful thing about this human is, if you're not doing something and you've achieved what you've done in business and obviously you've got a beautiful family, even you just introducing something, it cannot fail to amplify everything you're doing moving forward. Because otherwise, it's a matter of time if it hasn't happened already, where you'll just feel stressed.
How do you find the thing that is right for you?
Well, you test
so many different
something.
ways.
You test something. Huh? You got to try, but give it a fair test. Don't do something for a fucking day and go, it didn't work. Do it for at least 7 to 14 days, if not longer. But I'd maybe soundboard off some of the guys and just, all good? All good? Okay. Guys, sorry. And maybe this is something we can do after because I'm conscious of time. What I would say, and maybe you can discuss this before you put pen to paper. Westy, sorry, is on that other page, I'll put 5 daily non-negotiables. From that list, what I would say is, what are 5 daily non-negotiables that come to your front of mind you can commit to? And we are going to be refining these later on in the final planning session, but was that helpful? Was the thought process, what was most helpful?
Yeah, managing, like basically being realistic.
Mm-hmm. But it's got to be specific.
Yeah.
If something's too generic, if it's too general.
But I mean realistic as in being able to do something that's better. Like my point was, I was saying before, you're like, no, you're going to be.
Yeah.
It's like, be realistic.
But it's just the most instinctive thing I feel like a lot of us in this room do. I'm not training. I'm going to go train 4 times a week really hard. I'm not doing steps. I'm going to go fucking 100,000 steps a week. I'm not eating well. Fuck it, give me the diet plan that you stick to for about 3 days. It's just, but always have in mind, guys, which is so important, who is this helping me become? What outcome is this helping me move towards that is important to me? You have to start with that in mind. So even our coaching team, you don't see all the back end stuff we do. All I give 2 fucks about when I'm coaching someone one-to-one in a group, on a Zoom, or even here is what is the outcome that this is helping them work towards, and is what I'm sharing helping them move towards that, or giving you clarity towards that. Otherwise, you're just doing stuff for the sake of it. And then you don't acknowledge, or you don't see the progress. So, all right? All good? Yep.